as we always did, maybe more, but we don't have the facilities to treat them as humanely as we'd like to. County prisons are the number one institution where mentally ill people are confined at the present time. So, you know, does that make sense? Probably not, but it's not us alone.
No,
It's,
no, no.
it's nationwide.
I'm not saying it is Fayette County alone. It is a nationwide problem, like you said.
And
But
we'd certainly like to address that, and I think if we get a new prison, that there'll have to be a section of it that's reserved for those persons that are seriously mentally ill until we can find another placement for them.
And the
And
prison has to make these judgments then about what care is appropriate, what setting is appropriate for these mentally ill individuals, and that's a difficult thing for prison officials to do. We have policies that they try to follow, they try to get the input of the medical personnel there, but they still have to make these judgments as to what is appropriate, because if they make the wrong decision, then they're criticized afterward that this person maybe did commit suicide in the prison and you should have known they were going to do this. So they have to make difficult judgments as to what is needed for these individuals. And those are judgments that are not easy to make, and they have to decide if they're a threat to themselves or others, and if they need isolation, if they need any other type of monitoring, if they need referral out. And those are the decisions they make. We have policies. I'm sure they do their best to follow them. The policies always are a work in progress. If they can be made better, we'll try to make them better. But that's the challenge of the county prisons now, as the judge says. That's the burden that they have now.
Let me give you a parallel example. If you go to the hospital emergency room, you're there because you believe it's a serious emergency. But they have a process called triage, where they decide who's going to die anyway, who's going to live anyway, and those people in the middle where they can make the difference on them, and they work on those people in the middle. I've gone to the hospital emergency room with a gash in my head and blood running down to my knees, thinking, well, this is an emergency. They're going to see me fast because I'm covered with blood. Sit there for 6 hours before I get stapled up. You know, I've had family members that go in there with severe abdominal pain and get put on a gurney and wait in the hallway for 8 hours until pain went away. I guess I'll just get up and go home. Never seen by a doctor. These things happen, and unfortunately, subjectively, from my standpoint, well, my emergency was a big emergency, but in retrospect, it was not. They decided, well, he's not going to die anyway, so we'll see him when we have time. And same thing with other situations. Now, I don't know the facts of the situation that you're talking about until today. I've never heard the name Chris Shellhammer. I have another Shellhammer that I have in court on some matters, but I don't know him from anyone. So again, I think the best policy or the best procedure for you to follow is to list everything that you have that you think is inappropriate or you think is a violation of common decency and humanity, and put it all together so that everybody can take a look at it. We can circulate it to the people that you're suggesting have done something wrong, and let's hear what they have to say about it.
Let me add something to that. Any and all emails and correspondence that I have received directly from the individuals who are individuals speaking and or his family members, I have, and it is fully documented, I have sent it out to everyone involved, the prison staff, prison board members, and as Jack had made comment, it goes beyond that. It goes to those people, not just within the jail, but also medical staff and the courts, which would be, when I say the courts, it's through the individual who handles the mental health aspect of it. And they have immediately investigated and then sent back the reports. So it's, just for the record, the complaints and the situations that have been reported have not gone unnoticed and have not gone uninvestigated. The investigations were completed by not just the warden, but also the medical staff and the counselors and I don't know the name of the title of the mental health individual, as well as even behavioral health. reaching out to Torrance, doing everything, and it's documented, so it's not been, ignored or unnoticed, through the county processes.
Okay, on a follow-up on that, if I may. I understand what has been said policy-wise. The next question is, how much training do the COs have in order to make at least an initial judgment? And the question that I had raised at the last meeting was, if they're faced with a situation where they suspect someone uh, has a mental health issue and they consider to be a danger to themselves, how come they cannot call somebody in, a professional, to follow up with that person instead of waiting until whoever you have coming in, whether it's from behavioral health or Chestnut Ridge or whomever, to come in on Mondays? And I was told that that was not feasible. And I followed up with a phone call later on and was basically told the same thing, that it was not, because you have, what, upwards of 250, 300 inmates or something like that on average, that you can't make phone calls like that about everyone. And my response was, if you're talking about one individual or two individuals that have issues that you suspect, and that, why can't you make a phone call either to a professional to have them evaluated, or at least call the family member to let them know what's going on? And in my son's case, Christopher's case, yes, he was extremely depressed for being in there, but he's also depressed because he's definitely worried about his sons, because especially the eldest one. He does have a very serious condition, and we are shocked that he's made it to age 4, because most kids with Barth syndrome don't make it to 3. And but with therapy in Children's Hospital, it has been a godsend. And he has made it to 4. He's he's going to school, and he's thriving. But he still has a ton of issues, and that's what Chris is worried about. But he was put in isolation.